Hey crew, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's fun video we are going to be unboxing, assembling, and testing a brand new desktop CNC machine from the WizMaker company. Now they reached out to me and asked me would I do a review of this new machine, and I happily said yes, and I want to thank WizMaker for trusting me with this review. What is in this box that arrived the other day is the new WMCM 006 desktop model CNC. Now you guys know over in the corner we do have the bigger Shark Next Wave CNC machine. I showed you guys earlier in the year where we brought it back out into the workshop. So I'm really excited to have a desktop model, because from what I've been able to gather is this one is going to be able to do just about what the Next Wave CNC machine can do, but in a smaller, more compact manner. The box is very large, but it's not very heavy. It's just awkward, if that makes any sense. You can see here I can move it. I've got it set up on the card table. I'll probably, during the unboxing, slide it over to the Rikon table saw and put it on that table so I can lay all the parts and pieces out so you guys can see them in the assembly process. But I'm very happy and I'm thankful to be able to do this for you guys out there in the big wide world we live in. So without further ado, I'm going to get out my Swiss Army knife so we can cut the tape and start unboxing and assembling this new WizMaker CNC machine. And I am going to begin by taking my Swiss Army knife and cutting the tape so we can get the box open and we can start removing all of the packages. And WizMaker done a phenomenal job with packaging the CNC machine. Nothing could bounce or move around, so you don't have a fear of anything being damaged during the shipping process. But everything was packed nice and tight. And I'm just taking my time here getting all the pieces out. I don't want to damage anything. The biggest part is of course the base, which I am getting out now. But here we have all of the pieces for the CNC machine, and I'll get the base removed from the foam here. And there is all of our parts, and we'll begin the assembly process. And I have the instruction manual pulled up on my laptop as well as the paper that came with it. And the gantry arm here will go in with 8 screws, and I'll put 2 on the outside side and 2 on the inside side to make sure it's fully supported. The CNC comes with all the tools and wrenches you need for the assembly process. But making sure everything is tight. This is my very first CNC I have ever assembled, and it went together relatively smoothly, even though the instructions leave a lot to be desired. But I will just go through and follow all of the steps. Now I am attaching the drag cable on the gantry arm and connecting the stepper motors. I believe it was 6 small screws holding this in place. But it only took around 30 minutes to fully assemble the CNC. But keep in mind there is some small screws you have to keep up with. But once everything is in place, I will turn it around again, and then it will be time to put on the spindle motor and the bracket. Double checking on the laptop and the paper. And to attach the spindle and the bracket, it is 4 long screws, and we will line those up with the appropriate holes, and I will tighten everything down. But a very straightforward process, and I can tell just by the feel that this is a quality machine that the WizMaker company has offered. And I want to thank them for trusting me with this review. But now the assembly process is fully complete. And here we have the fully assembled WizMaker Artisan 1 Desktop CNC machine. Kind of cool that the name of it is Artisan, with me being the Artisan Pirate. Assembly was very straightforward after I got a grasp on the instructions. Here is all the instructions that come with the machine. Here you see the front side, there you see the back side, and the same instructions are loaded on PDF format on an included thumb drive that is in all of the packaging here. But everything went together very smoothly. It is a rock solid machine. I've got it moved over here to the counter because I feel like it would be a lot more sturdy surface to test it on as opposed to the card table where we assembled it on. Again, it's not a very heavy machine, so this would be a good machine, I feel like, if you had access and capability to take and do demos with. But it is rock solid. I've already got one of the bits loaded into it. I'm kind of familiar with CNC machines, but I'm by no means a pro at it. But here you see it came with 6 CNC bits, so thank you WizMaker for including those. Here are our hold down pieces. Of course, with a CNC machine, you do have to hold and lock your pieces in place during the whole carving process. We have our control panel here, we have our piece to home it with, and we have the wire to connect it to the laptop. Now I'm going to have to do a deep dive because for the Shark CNC machine over in the corner that I showed you earlier in the year, that takes the Vectric VCarve software. This takes a totally new software, so I'm really going to have to buckle down and learn it. But as soon as I do, we are going to get to testing this amazing machine that WizMaker has provided. So let me learn the software and we'll hop right back on here to do some test. And we now have the WizMaker Artisan CNC machine up and running, and I am going to be playing with the first 2 test files that came on the included USB thumb drive. And the first time I zeroed it out ever, I thought I had it zeroed to the material, but apparently I didn't. So it's basically just cutting in the air, but I did want to show this to you guys. It really didn't engrave nothing, so I automatically reset the machine, and this time I went too deep. So I did have to play around with raising and lowering the spindle head to the proper height with the Candle software. And keep in mind, you can use the included controller with the CNC machine, or you can run it off of the laptop. And for everything on this video, I'm running the files off of the laptop. But it takes around 5 minutes to do the WizMaker logo here. I'm using a very tiny included VCarve bit, and I'll show you guys up close what this looks like. Again, I went way too deep here, so I wanted to go one more time. I wanted to get it perfect for you guys for this review. And again, I just want to thank WizMaker for trusting me with the review of their new CNC Artisan Desktop CNC. And I like how this one has an included light that will illuminate the workpiece while it is working. Doing the WizMaker name once again, and I can tell it was going to come out a lot better. Cleaning it up with the shop vac. And just to make sure, I wanted to go one more time with it, so I'll run the file one final time before moving to the second test file. And this is just a scrap piece of pine board for those curious. I'll talk about everything in a lot more detail as we close the video. If you guys like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. I'd really appreciate the support. And I'll also add all of the social media links and affiliate links to WizMaker in the description box below as well. But I was very happy now that I knew how to properly zero out the CNC, to the material. So now I have a piece of basic off-the-rack 3/4 inch pine shelving board, and I'm going to be doing the second test file, and this is a little miniature 3D eagle. And this is one of the features on this CNC machine that I was very interested with because it can do the 3D carvings. So I was very curious about that. And here is how the candle software looks. You can see that line going back and forth, showing you where it is on the tool path and how far it is on the project. Again, running everything from the laptop as opposed to the controller. But I put the GoPro right on the board, and you can see here very subtly how the CNC spindle head is raising and lowering, creating that 3D effect. And it has very minimal vibrations. You can see that the GoPro is right on the material and it is not vibrating, shaking, or moving around. So I think that speaks volumes for the quality of the WizMaker Desktop Artisan CNC machine. But it took around an hour to do this test file here. And you can see back over here on the candle software where the light gray is, that is how much of the project it has done, and the black area is every part that is yet to go with the file. But it is slowly working on it, and I hope it goes without saying that you do not want to leave a CNC machine unattended, so I stayed in the workshop close by the whole time it was running. And I was stepping over occasionally with the shop vac, pulling up all of the excess sawdust. But I was really happy with how the eagle came out. And I didn't know what size to make the piece, so I done an overlarge piece of 3/4 inch pine, but look at that detail. And I took it off of the spool board and took it over to the scroll saw and quickly cut it down to size to be more manageable. But very happy to have this technology in the workshop. And there it is, a beautiful 3-dimensional eagle made on the CNC. But that will wrap it up for our test projects and review in this video. And we'll now get ready to wrap up the review. And that, crew, is going about wrap it up for our review of the WizMaker Artisan Desktop CNC Machine. I think it is a very compact and versatile tool to have. Please keep in mind as we are closing the video here, I am no CNC expert. I do have the Shark CNC machine in the corner, as I mentioned already in this video, and I'm more familiar with the Vectric software. The software that you run this machine on is the Candle software. Now, it took me a little bit to learn this. I reached out to people who had a CNC who might be able to guide me, and of course I done a dive on the YouTube platform. Of course, we pretty much learn so much now on the YouTube platform, and hopefully I'm teaching you guys something on the YouTube platform as well. But once I got a grasp on this software, I was able to run the test files here on some scrap material, and I'm going to show them to you. Keep in mind, I am no CNC expert. I just done the test files that was loaded. It was some basic word engraving. And for the word engraving, they had pre-programmed the word WizMaker, which is the name of the company here. And I done it 4 different times. The first time I done it, it didn't even get onto the wood. I thought I had it zeroed out properly to the wood, and apparently I didn't. The second time, I dropped it too low. And as you can see here, it went way too deep, and you can kind of tell what that is. It's kind of legible. But then I went 2 more additional times, and upon each time I was getting more and more familiar with how to zero it out and use, again, the Candle software here. So the last 2 came out very nice, and this is just a scrap piece of material that I cut over at the miter saw to attach to the spool board. This machine does come with the proper hold downs for CNC, but over on the other CNC, I'm so used to just screwing the boards to the MDF, so that's what I've done for today's test. You can see where I drilled the holes to lock it in place with the screws. But those were our tests, and each time I've done this word, it took around 5 or 6 minutes to do it. That is a very fine point bit on there. Again, I'm used to larger CNC bits, so I didn't know what kind of time we were going to be playing around with when we were doing these. Thankfully, this does have a counter on it letting you know how much time has elapsed in a project and also how much time is roughly left, kind of a rough estimate of how much further it has to do the jobs over here. Now, I am, as you can see in today's video, I did use this CNC machine tethered to a laptop. This is the same laptop I run the 2K laser on. But you can design the files, save them to an SD card, load it over here on the control panel, and use the control pad itself to run the machine entirely without having it tethered to a laptop. Again, this is the method I'm most familiar with. And all the affiliate links for WizMaker will be linked down in the description box below this video. But then we done the test I was really looking forward to, and it was a 3-dimensional eagle, because this CNC machine has the capabilities of doing waves, doing structures, landscapes, and things like that. And they had a nice eagle programmed on it, and that was the bulk of the engraving. It took around an hour to do this. Keep in mind, those are 1/8 inch CNC bits. They're not a 1/4 bit or 3/8 inch bit. They are 1/8 inch, and that tapers down into a fine V point for V carving. But here is what we done. We done this beautiful 3-dimensional eagle. It was a preloaded file that came on the thumb drive included with the CNC machine, and it's only, you can see there my pointer finger, it's only about 3 inches square all the way around. I didn't know how big the file was going to be. That's something else I'm unfamiliar with right now. Again, I'll have to keep studying if I continue to use this CNC machine and learning the software and everything. So I cut an oversized piece of 3/4 inch pine shelving board, and I zeroed it out. And again, it took roughly an hour to do this, but you can see the 3-dimensional look. And keep in mind, this is off the shelf 3/4 inch pine shelving board. So imagine how much better the quality would be if it was made, like, say, out of poplar, cedar, oak, cherry, or something like that. But again, the actual pine looks phenomenal here, and I'm so happy with this capability with this CNC laser machine. And again, it's not a very heavy machine. You can move it around easily. You can unlock it to move the stepper motors to help fine-tune where you are lining it up. I love that it has this light attachment here to where you can keep an eye on your work. And you guys seen, I was cleaning up the sawdust as I was going, especially with this, because I wanted to see how it was going. I had the shop vac hooked up, and I was going over there carefully just getting rid of all the sawdust so I could see the image emerging out of the wood. Now, for my recommendations, if you are already familiar with CNC programs and CNC software, I would highly, highly recommend this machine. It went together smoothly. Again, the instructions leave a lot to be desired, but I was familiar with how things went together. Once I got a grasp on like how the instructions were structured, I was able to put it together relatively easily. It took me less than 30 minutes to get it fully assembled, and then we were ready to do our test. Again, I had to step away and learn this software, do a dive on YouTube to see other people working with the software just so I could get a visual grasp on it. I am more of a visual learner than I am of a reading learner, if that makes any sense. But if you are not familiar with CNC machines, I do not know if I could recommend this, because it was more complicated for me. Again, I'm not a tech savvy person, but again, if you are familiar and versed with softwares, with G-codes and files like that, absolutely go for this machine. It is a great value. There's also upgrade kits to where you can upgrade the spindle to do metal engraving and metal cutting. You can also get a dust collector for it, a dust boot that'll go around the spindle to help with dust collection in your garage or workshop. And it is a rock solid tool. You can see it's not shaking around much. And I had the GoPro set on this board while it was doing the carving, and you could see how steady everything was. So overall, I am very pleased with it, and I'm so happy and thankful to WizMaker for reaching out to me and trusting me with this review. And hopefully, in your guys' opinions and WizMaker's opinions, I have done this review justice. From unboxing to assembling to doing its first initial cuts over here on the counter under the Artisan Pirate banner. But I'm really happy with it. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know down in the comments box below, excuse me. And again, I just hope you guys enjoyed seeing this new and amazing and very versatile tool that has now came into the workshop, and I'm able to share it with you guys out there in the big wide world we live in. But that's going to be about all for this one. Again, all affiliate links associated with WizMaker will be linked down in the description box below. And if you're new to the channel, hopefully you'll click the subscribe button and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me as well as all my social media feeds will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one. And remember, crew, if I can make it or do it, so can you guys. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care, and I'll see you all real soon.